Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
Leaf fans, welcome to Game Over Toronto, where the Leafs lost 3-1 to the Jimmy Vesey's New York Rangers. I am your host, Lauren Williamson. We have Fouad on tonight. We have a special guest later on tonight. This is the first loss the Leafs have had in feels like a minute.
Yeah,
Lost.
Coming up at 10. Do the Leafs suck again? Learn more at 10 o'clock. No, I'm just kidding. It was wasn't a great showing by anybody by any stretch of the imagination. Kind of looked like the ice, at least for the Leafs, was like literally made of sand as pucks just did not go.
Or Crisco.
Crisco. I guess that would be the opposite of sand. Okay.
Yeah, but it was sliding extra, right? It was going where it shouldn't have been. It wasn't going slow. It was going fast. It was going slow. It was not going where it needed to be.
No.
And the score reflects that, right? I mean, I think we're lucky after the first period that it wasn't 2-1 leading into the second, honestly, because the Leafs did not play well in the first.
They didn't play well at all. I mean, the only good thing I saw, the only really good thing that I kind of jumped out of my seat for was that 2-minute shift where they cycled the hell out of that puck. And I'm like, that was
their best chance of the game.
Somebody who knows stats more than I do will say, can probably correct me on this, but I don't think I've seen a cycle like that before this season, before this good stretch of hockey. They never used to get guys get teams hemmed into their zone. It was usually just a lot of their goals, I felt like, was just on transition or just kind of all of a sudden, but they're hemmed in and Shesterkin and that New York defensive system said, not today.
And Shesterkin stood tall, and the Leafs,
New York goalies.
It just looks like the Leafs look different than they were playing for the last 10 days. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk with our guest. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff tonight. We're going to talk with the chat. Welcome, everybody, back to Game Over Toronto onto this lovely, lovely Thursday night. I hope you're all warm and safe inside of your respective homes. Before we get going on everything, let's do our ad read for the night. If you think you know what way it's going to go, make your bet at Sports Interaction. Whether it's World Cup, hockey, football, or basketball, Sports Interaction has you covered. Bet pregame, live and play, or on one of our many prop bets. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Join now and see all that sports betting has to offer. Want to bet? Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 plus, please play responsibly.
So I want to know, did anybody take that prop bet where Jimmy Vesey was definitely going to score a goal and he got 2 goals? I don't think there's easier money in the world than picking obscure or even not obscure former Leafs to score against the Leafs. I think the only easier money would be to get a time machine, go back to 1999, and buy Amazon stock for $12. That's the only easier money, because it's every time it happens, I laughed. I just laughed.
Go buy 100 Bitcoin when it was $5.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Now it's worth $6. So I'm just kidding.
And I wish we could rewind to the games that we had earlier this week, right? When we had Dan on, and I mean, there were still lots to talk about, but we got talking about different things. But tonight there's so much to talk about. There's the power play that just, even though it has been technically producing, it doesn't look good. And Fouad, unfortunately, is very aware of my feelings towards the power play entry decisions that they have, and the fact that I think that their power play has become a little bit stale. And I don't know if you noticed, Fouad, but later in the game, in the third, they had Connor Timmins on the point on the power play when the Leafs were down 2-1.
You know what I'm going to do to come back in this game? I am going to rifle a practice muffin towards Igor Shesterkin, because that is the way we are going to come back in this game. He's no. He's like in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where Carlton steals the ball. It's I'm going to do it. I'm going to be the one to score it all. No. Yeah, it was a rough showing, I think, all around. I mean,
we have a Rangers. We do have a Rangers fan in the chat apologizing for ending Marner's streak. So that is very lovely of you. Thank you.
Not just Marner's streak, okay? Not just Marner's streak.
The Leafs
you ended
point
the point streak.
Yeah.
Let's pour one out. Pour one out for that. I'm not actually going to pour it out because this is a computer.
This is water this time. No tears, guys. There's no tears on this bottle this time. Unfortunately. Yeah. It's been a long time since we had to do a lost video. Honestly, we've been very spoiled with the games that we've had. We've been very lucky.
we have.
We've been very lucky.
This team this season has been, and now let's not overreact. This is just one loss. Like, let's not overreact
It
and
is.
say,
It is.
everything's falling down because, obviously that's what you guys would, that'd be the easy thing to do. But
yeah,
this team is this season has been so feast and famine. Like, they went from the beginning of the season, they're in the Sahara Desert, and like this last few games, they've been at the Mandarin. They've gone up for their 8th plate. Like, that's how they've been so far.
And they've been fat and happy, right? Like, I'm looking at the last few games that they played. Like, the last 3 games have been the Ducks, Calgary, who's been struggling, and Los Angeles, and they won those games, right?
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, or at least got a point in all of them. Honestly,
they won.
Time has been a flat circle. It's been a busy week for everybody here. And then, but before that, they played Dallas and Tampa, and then they go and play a couple softer teams and do very well, which is what we've all been hoping for. But then they play the Rangers. And, I have it. There was only 4 shots that the Leafs had in the first 10 minutes of the first.
Ooh.
Like,
yeah, that reminds me of like LA Kings Leafs from the this game kind of reminded me of that early season Leafs. Again, not to say they're going back there.
No.
Before you call me an alarmist, but
it goes to show that if you don't stick to the good things that you're doing, and if you let yourself get sloppy and fat and happy, then you can regress. And this is, that's a warning sign. Like, there was somebody that I saw just on the hellscape that is hockey Twitter that said there have been games that the Leafs have played where they've played worse and won. And they were right? There are games where they have played worse this season, but that one chance, the 2 minutes that they sow in the New York Rangers and get all those opportunities and get, Tavares and Marner and Matthews all on the ice. That's really the only really good chance they had in basically the whole game. They didn't look dangerous on any of the power plays.
No, it looked like power plays past where we were like, the power play is like, so, the whole team is just an extremely high variance team to where it's like just up here and then down here. So like, I remember a couple years ago, the power play, I was like, how? Like, it can't be like, it was, the power play a couple years ago was so bad that I was like, at this point, just forfeit the power play. Just be like, no, we're good. You guys keep your player on.
When they had Mikheyev, they were better on the PK.
Yeah.
They got more chances on the PK than they did on the power play. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, again, listen. One loss, and again, to New York Rangers' credit, like I was saying before this game to myself that this is kind of a bit of a measuring stick game because like the Rangers were a lot of people's cup favorite coming to the season, including one of our esteemed bosses, Mr. Jesse Blake.
Absolutely.
Was hammering that. And it was a good pick because that's in a stacked team. You have one of the best goaltenders in the league. You got 2 really good defensemen. You have just
New York is a good team.
Killers up and down the ice. Yeah, they're a really good team, and they outplay the Leafs tonight for sure. But to find the positives, because I put the Santa hat on today, because
a little bit of joy. We need a little bit of joy.
When they lost, this hat is so big. It's gonna fall over my eyes. But I put it on because I was like, no, you know what? Let's put some Christmas cheer. This has been such a good team so far that let's get the Christmas cheer going. So positives. Michael Bunting, okay, Goodwill Bunting. How about them apples?
Good.
It's a good movie. You should check it out.
I've seen it.
I like that. It's a good movie.
I've seen it.
How about them apples? So Michael Bunting now
my boy is wicked smart.
Yeah, wicked smart. Yeah.
Wicked smart.
So off track now. Sorry. That was pretty good. So Michael Bunting has a 10-game point streak, which I was like, really? Because I think it was lost in all the hoopla of the team absolutely trucking other teams and Mitch Marner's point streak and Nylander. Michael Bunting just showed up and he's saying, he's here. So yeah, it's good to see he's back. I was kind of worried at the beginning of the season when they were in their very, very not so good place that, maybe Michael Bunting might have been, maybe a one-hit wonder that season or something like that. It was a worry. It was a concern, but it's good to see that he's back. Like he's starting to prove his value as, that pesky, but also offensively talented role player next to Matthews and Nylander, right? So,
Oh, absolutely. And, I think we were all surprised when he played so well last year, right? I don't think any of us had it on that bingo card that he was going to come in and just sit on that line like he had been there the whole time.
yeah, Kyle Dubas did.
Right?
He's like, no,
Yeah.
he's from the Sioux.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
my guy.
He just,
so
because he has the magic Sioux soup inside of him.
There you go.
And I don't think I'm that surprised that he's regressed a little bit this season, but I don't think that we're strong enough on the left side right now, and I think playing a good team like the Rangers tonight showed that. And I think they got exposed tonight. Like
I just
felt
Dennis Malgin just not, like
he doesn't
on that
have
Marner.
a point in 10. He doesn't have a goal in 10 games. Is that
no
points in 10 games. Ooh.
Yeah, he just kind of looks like out of place up there. Like, you ever know, like sometimes it feels like, so sometimes I used to go and play sports at the local community center. I play basketball, going runs, and there'd be really competitive players hitting shots and like getting into the game. And I'm just there, just getting exercise. And that's kind of how I feel that Dennis Malgin is, not to be too mean and compare him to my athletic ability. But, it kind of stands like he's just not on that tier. Like, again, imagine this is the game one of the playoffs. Do you want Dennis Malgin to be your left winger on Tavares and Marner?
Oh, no, and I think that tonight is a great example of the fact that there's, we're coming up to we're halfway through December now. So, the trade deadline is what, 6 weeks away?
I heard 56 days away. I don't know where I heard that.
It's not far.
No, wait. That might have been the NBA one.
And if you're watching us right now, then you know that Kyle Dubas doesn't generally do trade deadline big acquisitions. He's like, I'm going to get in there, 21 days earlier, right? Like, and so I think we can expect if there's a move that's coming, it's probably coming sooner rather than later. And
he gets his work done early.
And
he gets his work done early.
And it's a good thing because it gives them extra time to gel and everything. And I mean, I have no idea what kind of move it would look like, right? And God bless Brandon Pridham and the temple of his cap understanding and loophole exploitation that he is able to do. And I think that they're going to look different in the new year. And I think that while they have played so well in the past 15 games, like, let's not understate how well they've played. They I guess tonight the Leafs were the team that got goal lead, but the Leafs weren't playing well. They didn't capitalize on a single power play.
They could not hit a pass. It was kind of like, I feel like they were kind of, they were wearing somebody else's glasses. That's how the passes were going. Like,
it was like they were wearing like did you ever wear those like beer goggles where it actually like makes it all screwy? That's what it looked like it was in the lake tonight. There was no crisp passes. It was super frustrating because they've showed that they can play better. They've showed it as recently as 2 days ago when they kicked the Ducks' ass up and down the ice till it was 7-0. And what we've all been praising and wanting and begging for, and they give it to us, and then they give us that, and we're like, what happened? What happened?
See, I couldn't find the chat. So what's the chat saying? Is the chat angry at us because we're nitpicking here? Because I feel like people are like, they won 15 games. Why are you complaining?
Honestly, I was trying to get my tweet out because it's not sending for some reason. The refs ignored so much this game on both sides. Yeah, there was at least a penalty on each side that should have been called that wasn't, right? There was that slash on Marner where he hit him in the hands, and even the commentator on the broadcast was like, "We heard that up here. How is that not called a penalty?" But how the penalty play was playing, was it significantly better than how they were playing 5-on-5?
Yeah,
not really.
Yeah, I've
right?
never. I'm somebody like in any of these games or even any sport, like when I watch basketball, when I watch baseball, anything like that, when it's Toronto teams and teams I'm really rooting for, unless it's egregious, I hate the refs talk because it's like,
it's just
if
the
you
cop
watch
out.
If you watch a game for 60 minutes, a full hockey game, there's like 100 other plays that could have been made to that one minuscule play. Like, unless you're talking like it's the Stanley Cup final and they miss a goaltender interference or like somebody gets slashed in the head, then they don't call it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not a fan of the refs argument usually, but Yeah, I mean, hey, like, listen, as long as the penalties were even on each side, then the game was fair, right?
So we have a couple of it looks like we have a couple of Rangers fans in the chat. Welcome, Rangers fans. Hi,
Ooh, no, I'm just
nice to
kidding.
meet
Welcome.
you. I'm Lauren. This is Fouad. Please like and subscribe, even though we don't have a market in New York yet. You are welcome to come and hang out whenever you would like.
Yes.
I'm a Rangers fan. I don't follow the Leafs, but it just seemed like the Rangers played good defense to slow the Leafs down, which is surprising for the Rangers this year. Well, they did, and again, credit where credit's due. Like, I mean, we were talking about it earlier, how we should have put money on the fact that Jimmy Vesey was inevitably going to score against the Leafs tonight. And
Easy money.
And I didn't have 2 goals on the bingo card for that. But, you know, the bottom 6 had better chances than the top 6 did tonight.
Yeah, top six, I didn't see really anybody.
Anything. Like,
that's kind of how I see the game. I'm like, did I jump up and say, whoa, Tavares or whoa, Matthews? Like, I didn't have any of those moments where I was like, oh, man, he could have got that. Like, I didn't see anything that was really close. And that's honestly a function of the passing. Like, they just were not in sync at all.
And in the first period, that all 4 of the top 4 players on the Leafs had at least one giveaway, right? That ended up coming back the other way. Matthews did it, Marner did it, Nylander did it, and Tavares did it. And you know, when it comes, we're all here and we're talking about, there's everybody talking about the regular season, how it doesn't matter and how it only matters in the playoffs. But we're probably not going to get 3 power plays in a playoff game in a game 7. So the fact that we can't capitalize on a single one of them in a game against a good team where after kicking the Ducks, after going duck hunting 2 days ago, you know, now the Leafs are full of Fouad and fat and happy. And because of that,
bars today. You got bars. Woo!
I'm good with cooking references. It was in my past life.
Damn.
Foie gras. It's the saddest food ever. And because of that, I worry about how this is going to look in the playoffs, because that double drop back to the 2 forwards behind and wasting the first 30 seconds of the power play in the playoffs is going to get you nowhere. It is going to get you a first round exit again, and I don't want to do that on this stream.
Is it strange that now that you mentioned that game was so eerily similar to Game 7 versus Tampa Bay?
It's not an accident.
Aside from the egregious, that was a bad callback, but the whole moving pick.
No, I know it's okay.
I didn't even know that was a rule in hockey until that happened. I'm like, I didn't know you couldn't screen a guy in hockey, but I learned something new every day. But that did feel like that Tampa Bay game where it was like they got beat by a bottom 6er who had 2 goals. All right, it was 2-1.
Yep.
They scored first.
Yep.
We scored second. They scored again.
And
that was really similar.
And you know, even in the series, in the Amazon series, and Morgan Riley says, you know, sometimes you just look up at the clock and you wonder where the game went. That's what it looked like happened tonight. There was so much time where it was just back and forth through the neutral zone, and no one, like, even the Rangers had a couple good chances, but there wasn't it wasn't trading fantastic opportunities. They were all kind of sloppy on both sides, and the Rangers just happened to have the magic card of Jimmy Vesey. Who knew, guys? Congratulations, Rangers fans.
Yes.
Fair enough. Take advantage of the Leafs when they play that badly, because they need the lesson still, apparently.
Yeah. Well, hey, like they say, can't win them all.
It's true.
But unless you're the Boston Bruins, in which, yes, you can, I guess. But
I know.
Unfair, right? It's just unfair how we had this absolute bender of a run. Like a month of basically not losing at all. And they're still like 5 points back of that God-forsaken team. Like, it's not fair.
And then there's little glimpses where it rears its ugly head, right? And, you know, after talking about this sad game, Leafs fans, we're going to bring on our special guest here, I think, now, Fouad.
Okay.
I think it's time.
So, this guest here is, you definitely know him if you have TikTok and you live in the area. You know, this is the guy. He's a social media star. He's had quite a 2022. He's headlined his own stand-up show across Canada. He's known for his imitation of Gary Vee, in which he did that imitation at Gary Vee's conference. And he's here tonight to speak with us. He is also a former employee of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
We're gonna get some
That's
inside
what-
information on how it all works.
Insider,
guys.
yes, he is. Insider Neema is here. So everybody, put your hands together virtually
Here we
for
go.
Neema Naz.
Neema Naz, welcome, Neema. How are you doing, man? What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh yeah.
What's going on, Neema?
Did you bet that the Leafs were gonna let Jimmy Vesey score on them?
Yeah, I actually did.
Did you actually?
Former Leafs player just absolutely embarrassing us with that bar down ski, eh?
That's,
Downsky.
you know, I didn't know Vanilla could do that. Go figure.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know,
man.
right?
No, it's so
Good for
funny.
him.
The last time I saw this, the last time you were working at the arena. So full disclosure, you know, I worked there. We were
If
both
you're
there.
new
You know,
to the channel, everybody.
yeah. So we worked. I worked there for many years, throwing shirts. You know, hyping the crowd up. It's not an easy task sometimes. If you've been to Leaf games, you'll know. But it was always a challenge. We'd go to the lower bowl and we'd be like, "Yo, guys, let's go. Let's get hype." And they're just like,
Let's go.
They're just
And
eating sushi.
People
and
are
they're just
sitting there.
Just minding their own business, not even caring, bro. Just straight up looking at you like you're a ghost. Like, why is this guy ruining my evening? I'm
They
trying to
don't
watch
even-
hockey,
They don't
and
even
this
like
guy's yelling in my ear.
oh, yelling at a hockey game. What a novel concept. It's like, what a novel
Who is this
concept.
heathen?
Yeah.
And then the last time you were working there, I believe, and this is pretty funny, was March 10th or 11th of 2020. And if you remember that week, nothing eventful happened in that week at all in the world. No, that was the last game. I remember this. It was the game. It was against Tampa Bay, and they won against Tampa Bay. Go figure, they won against Tampa Bay.
Oh yeah.
And it was the last game before everything shut down. And I remember
Yeah.
leaving the arena, and I said to this guy, I'm like, I don't know, man. This whole COVID thing is kind of scary. Or it wasn't even COVID at that point.
It'll
It was
only
coronavirus.
be 2 weeks. It's fine.
No, that's what he said. He's like, it'll blow over. And then narrator, it
It did not, in fact, blow over.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, and
no.
after that, I was like, yeah, like I'm never getting back here.
No.
I'm not coming back. We're not
Yeah.
coming back here.
Yeah, no, I was like, oh, well, I guess we'll see you guys on Saturday.
Well,
And
it's
then
crazy
next-
because at the time, like, I was already like, because like I was doing a lot of hockey videos, obviously, right? So whoever's watching, like, obviously, I do hockey impressions of like just hockey guys in general, and like
That's what
at the
our characters
time, I was getting recognized at the games already. So I was like, yo, like if I come back, if I end up like, you know, potentially, you know, with like naturally like the trajectory of your career, if it goes bigger and better, like by the time like everything's back to normal, I wouldn't be able to come back anyway because it would just be too hectic. Like I was already getting in trouble for not doing my job because people are coming up to me to talk to me. So I'm like, I can't be here anymore as a Leafs employee. So it was a good run.
Yeah. So how do you feel like it? Working there, that job kind of like helped you in your career.
Honestly, man, it helped me to have fun and realize that it's good to try new things. And like, you know, I'm gonna be completely transparent. Like I was never really a huge hockey fan growing up, but honestly, working for the Leafs and like being around that environment live in person every night was such a hype, dope experience that made me actually really enjoy hockey and start to learn more about it. So shout out to the Leafs organization and the Blue Crew for having me on board and expanding my sports knowledge.
There you go.
Well, and one of the cool things, if people that don't know that have never worked for the Leafs, and I've never worked for MLSE, but I've known a couple people that have. There's like special advantages that you get to work for MLSE. Like there's like the Friends and Family Day that they do every year, where you actually get to go and actually see what the Leafs locker room looks like, and go see what the Raptors locker room looks like. And I've been lucky enough to go to one of those, so it is a very cool opportunity just working at MLSE by itself. So
yeah. You also get to learn how to serve people beer behind the counter. It's crazy. They do a whole event about that. You get to throw snacks in the stadium. It's so fun.
You know, I remember one time. This is actually fun. I have a really good memory. I have a really random memory. Like I don't remember important things, but I remember just silly stories.
As you should. Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah. So if you guys have been to games, like we roll out those flags that go over the crowd, right? And then you do that thing. So I remember one time. It was a game against Montreal, and this guy was going to roll up the flag, and there was a Montreal fan that was like threatening to like fight you.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And he's
Yeah.
like, bro, I'm gonna pour beer in you if you put this flag over me.
Yeah.
I'm just not touching my skin.
Right.
my
I was like, bro, relax. Okay. The game hasn't even started. This guy's already hammered. Doesn't even know where he is. And he's yelling at me. And like, I'm like, bro, I don't even know what I'm doing. Okay. So stop yelling at me. Just have a good time. All right. No one cares if this touches you anyway. So I don't know.
No one's
crazy,
gonna
man. Some
tell.
people get
No one's gonna
crazy.
tell your friends.
No. And also, like, that's the one thing I learned about hockey games. Honestly, I hated on hockey growing up because I was like, oh, I could never watch this on TV. And, like, it was always boring to me. But when I start to work for the Leafs and I start to watch more hockey in person, I was like, wow, this is actually one of the most exciting environments to be around. And I love basketball and soccer the most. But honestly, like, hockey games live are, like, at the top for me now. So it's just, like, an insane environment. People are just wild. Like, especially if, like, the Leafs are winning or there's a rivalry game going on, like that Montreal Canadiens game. Like, I swear there's a couple fights. There's, like, beer being thrown. People are just talking shit in my ear while I'm running up and down yelling, "Go Leafs, go!"
Oh yeah.
It's
People
insane.
take it so
insane.
seriously. Like I've been at a game once, and I think it was Toronto Winnipeg. So again, I was doing the cheers, and then so what I would do is a lot of the other, you know what's funny, the other fans were nicer than the Leaf fans. So like, like I would pretend that I was chirping like just jokingly with the Winnipeg Jets fan. And I was like, shout out to Game Over Winnipeg, by the way. And I was talking to them. And then I'm like, yeah, go Leafs. So we were just having some fun back. And then there's other Leaf fan. He's like, hey, the Jets fucking suck. And then I'm like, I looked at the guy and I'm like, man, it's not that serious, man. It's just a game.
Talk about whataboutism. Oh my goodness.
It's like, it's just a game. It's why you have to be mad. It's only game.
Yeah,
it's so
absolutely.
crazy. I remember one time I was like, I wasn't really I hadn't been out in the actual like within the crowd in like a long time, like 20 minutes. I was like, yo, I'm gonna go in there, just go nuts. As soon as it was like 0-0 the entire game. I go into like the lower bowl. I get to the bottom. I'm like I literally, as soon as I get to the bottom, I turn around. I'm like, everybody on 3, we're gonna yell, "Go Leafs, go!" As soon as I said that, I was like, 1, 2, 3. Go Leafs, go! And the other team scored on us, and everyone was so mad. And I looked back, I was like, "Oh, that's not a good sign." And I ran back outside. I'm like, "I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back till the next period."
That's it. Oh yeah, no, like,
too scary.
Yeah, let's this. Yeah, the Scotiabank Arena. You know, I will say, Neema, I was there until the playoffs of this year, and I was there for both the Leafs and Raptors playoffs doing work. And I will say, unbelievably, I never thought I'd say this, the Leafs crowd beat the Raptors crowd in noise.
Yeah.
The Philly,
crazy.
The series against Philly for the Raptors, crowd was kind of dead.
Right.
It's been dead.
Yo, low key though, like off topic, I'm a little bit low key jealous and a little butthurt that you got to work for the Raptors and the Leafs because I wanted to do the Raptors. And I emailed them, and I was like, yo, man, like, is it cool if I work the Raptors as well? They're like, sorry, we don't allow people to work on both teams. I'm like, hey, how about Fouad?
What about this
asshole over here?
Bro? What about this motherfucking guy? What about this other Middle Eastern racial ambiguous guy right here, huh? Don't you need diversity? I'm the one you're looking for. Okay? I could be Mexican, I could be Arab, I could be Persian, I could be Russian, whatever you want me to do, man. I'll do it. Okay?
Oh, my God. Yeah, man. So like, speaking of the Scotiabank Arena, I actually was going to say this to talk a bit more about your career. So you actually, I was going to say this the intro got a little bit long for you, but you opened for a little-known comedian named Russell Peters at the Scotiabank Arena earlier this summer and at the Canadian Tire Center. Shout out to Game Over Ottawa.
Ottawa.
Tell me how that came about and what was that like?
Oh, man. Honestly, a full circle moment for me. It was like a highlight of my career for sure. It was like the epitome of like follow your dreams because he was an inspiration to me as a kid. When I was watching TV, I started to learn and watch stand-up comedy. And I was like, oh, what is this? And like subconsciously over the years, I was like, wow, I wish I could do that one day. And then finally, fast forward to me starting comedy 7 years ago and then like grinding it out, you know, just eating shit on stages so many times and doing all this content, traveling around, making no money, and then finally, gaining a little bit of traction online. And turns out, him and his team actually followed my stuff and actually liked my content. And so to the point where when we reached out to them to be like, yo, we have a couple questions, like we're big fans. We're trying to do a tour. Like, is it cool if I pick your brain for like 5 minutes? Me and my brother, obviously he's my manager. And they actually told us, hey, like we're actually big fans. We'd love to have lunch with you.
Wow.
And so, we ended up having lunch for a couple hours with Clayton, Russell's manager, and his older brother as well. And they're like, okay, come to Ottawa and Kingston to Russell's show just to chill. Turns out, they actually had a plan the whole time for me to just come and actually open up the shows.
Was it a surprise?
It was a surprise, bro. I didn't know until
It's
10
like a
minutes
surprise.
before.
It's a reverse surprise party. Like you were the one giving the surprise party.
Yeah, literally, bro.
No pressure.
They ambushed me with 10 minutes left before the show started in front of 5,000 people the first night. And I was like, what?
Wow.
Are you
And
one
they're
of
like,
those
yeah,
people that like can think on your feet like that, and you're like, okay, yeah, I got this?
I mean, yeah, for sure. But I was like shitting my pants. But like, I was still so into it. I was like, hell yeah, like this is what I've been working for my whole life. Like I have to be ready to go, right? Like when your name gets called, it's just like, for hockey, like for it relates to sports too. Like, it's like when your name gets called, like if you're in the G League, if you're in the OHL, whatever, your name gets called, like you're undrafted, bro, you got to come out and just go guns blazing. So that's how it was for me. I was like, hell yeah, I'll take the opportunity. I went out there, I smashed it. And then the next night, Kingston, same thing. And then we got to Toronto, and I actually didn't know I'd be going up because they actually said like they probably wouldn't be able to put me up for that show. Little do I know that they were just fucking with me. And then I got to the show.
Surprise party.
Like, yo, surprise. Here's 15,000 people. Get up there, buddy. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And then that's it. And then
that's something.
Crazy. It's crazy. It was honestly like a full circle moment, like just like all that happening at once. But
Well,
you know what?
And when things happen, sometimes you need to just take the chance, right? You don't know when
100%.
you're going to get the next opportunity, so sometimes you have to take the chances when they
Go
come.
for it. You know, it's funny.
Yeah, you have to be ready. Yeah.
I thought about when you were talking about that journey, about the comedian's journey of, the eating the shit and of not making any money and grinding. And I kind of think about this Leafs team, right? It's like, you know what I mean? Like they started, here's the thing, they've been kind of bombing on stages for a long time. All right. The stage being the playoffs. Now, do you think from your experience, like obviously, do you think those losses make you better? Like, do you feel like that kind of like you take that and maybe this Leafs team can, make it to make it to Madison Square. Not Madison Square. That's a bad impression because that's an actual arena. But, they can have their hour-long Netflix
They can get
special.
to their Carnegie Hall.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
There you
good.
go. I tried.
Oh, for sure, man. At some point, Daddy Matthews has got to step it up and just carry this team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, like,
People say you look like Austin Matthews, though. People say you are the Persian Austin Matthews.
I know, right? I look like overweight Middle Eastern Matthews for sure. If I just shave this beard and I have the stash, for sure.
You
But
should
I
go
got
as
the
in for
lettuce.
Halloween next year.
I will. You know what? I will. I got the lettuce already. On deck,
yeah.
on fleek.
The lettuce.
Oh,
Yeah.
So you have a lot of So you got a lot of characters. One of them being you have to explain us a couple characters here. So you have hockey guy. I believe his name is Kartsy. Is that
Kartsy, buddy? Oh yeah.
So how did you come up with these? Like any character in general, but how did you come up with specifically Kartsy, the one where you're also wearing the same jacket? I was kind of hoping you'd wear it, but I probably should have told you to wear it. But
Yeah, I know. It's funny because originally when I started doing the Kartsy videos, I was wearing the Leafs jackets like that.
yeah,
But then Mel, the coordinator of like the Blue Crew, she's like, "Yo,
Leafs?
you can't wear this
Oh, no.
on video. You can't." Because like,
Well, look at me now.
yeah,
I don't work there. Oh, I
probably because like I was just like I'm saying reckless shit in my videos, like, and it's probably like a bad brand representation for them. I don't know, whatever. But like honestly, these original characters I come up with are all people I've grown up around my whole life. Like I grew up in Toronto. It's a melting pot of diversity. So like every time like me and my group of friends are hanging out, it's the United Nations meeting. You know what I'm saying? Like like every time we're like, "Yo, boys, what are we debating today? What's on the agenda?" Right? It's like so I'm an extension of the people around me, obviously. So. I grew up around the hockey players. I grew up around, basketball players, football players, soccer players, Indian, Asian, like Arab, like all of them. You know what I'm saying? So that's just like who I am, and that's why Russell Peters is such a big deal for me, because he was an inspiration from a young age for me. And like we're very similar in style, and so yeah, man, it's it just like comes to me, and I just put it into action, and that's it. I don't think about it too much.
Yeah, I think that's why you got. I think that's why you and like kind of Russell Peters kind of like struck that kind of chord, especially in the GTAs, where you had just so many different cultures. Like, I mean, if you go to a Leafs game or a Raptors game, and you just like, that's probably my favorite thing about Toronto is like you just see every different type of person, and I think that's why it kind of resonates with both Russell and yourself, is that like, it's like, well, because I've seen the comments like on every character you do, like you have everybody like tagging their uncles, tagging their friends, and so it's like, people like by laughing, it's kind of like making people come together in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point is to just represent different cultures, right? Like, and be inclusive of like everybody. Well, that's just as who I am as a person, and also as a comedian. I want to make everyone laugh as much as I can. Obviously, like naturally, you're gonna offend people all the time or turn people off, but that's just like the nature of comedy. Is like it's so subjective. There's no way you can please everybody, and that's the same thing in sports, bro. People are reckless. People are ruthless. Like man, people shit on the Leafs like crazy. They claim to be huge fans, and they just like death threats to some of these players sometimes. I'm like,
close
bro,
the DMs, just close them,
dude. What are you doing? Like, as soon as these guys wins, you're gonna completely change you're gonna shift your perspective. So
if they see them in person, they'll shift their perspective.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'm like, yeah, have that same energy in person. Let's see it.
Well,
but,
and the good thing about things like hockey is that, like, doing things like the podcast where everybody looks different. If you look at any of the Leafs broadcasts, if you look at any of the game overs that we have, the sport is changing for the better, and we're seeing like more and more inclusivity in the sport, even though again the growth is slow. And growing the Leafs fandom of people of all colors and races and ethnicities and backgrounds and where different places where everybody's grandparents have come from is a huge part of it. And even though you didn't necessarily grow up as a Leafs fan, like you said, as you grew up, you learned to love it. And like, who knows, if you have a family and it grows one day, then maybe your kids will be even more big Leafs fans, right? And and it, the good thing about the Leafs and hockey and sports in general is that it does bring everybody together. And hockey is the biggest sport in the country, bar none. Even though the real technical sport is lacrosse, the Leafs and hockey is why we're all here.
Says who? Who says that?
Yeah,
I know.
And no one says that.
The grade 10 history book, it was lying to you. Okay?
No, it's the children that are wrong.
Yeah, it's like that's why I'm like, I agree, because actually, I remember when I was younger, they had the Punjabi Leafs announcers, the commentators, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I never thought I'd see this.
Yeah.
And like now they're huge, right? Like they're massive. There's a massive population of Indian people who followed just that stream, and like we got Wayne Simmons, 1 out of 16 on the Leaf squad. It's so super diverse, man. We're killing it on 1 out of 16 is just great numbers, man. We're just doing so well. We got Fouad, Arab hockey analyst, you know what I'm saying? Like we're making
Matthews
waves.
Is technically half Mexican, right? So there's more inclusivity than just Wayne Simmons.
That's a good point.
So Neema, you watched the game. I know you're a busy guy. You don't get to catch it that often, but what were your thoughts? What did you think? What did you see from an outsider's perspective? From an outsider's perspective, what did you see?
Well, I mean, I feel like from what I watched, I feel like the Leafs had so many chances in like near the goal, and they just couldn't close, which is weird because they like you said, like they've been on a hot streak, right? Like they were like 8-1-1 or something like that in the past 10 games, which is dope. Like I honestly I never thought I would see that. I'm just like, even myself, like I'm not even the biggest Leafs fan. I'm like, I lost hope, bro. Like these guys, there's no way they're gonna have a hot streak like that. It's like they're always folding, they're always choking, but they've been playing so well, and honestly, like they deserve to not lose, to be honest. But like that Jimmy Vesey goal was nasty. I'm not gonna lie, and like
bar down.
You can't stop that. You can't stop that. They had a couple of good half what's called breakaways, and
Marner had a really good breakaway.
Marner was
and he
close,
did nothing
man.
with it. And he did
Yeah,
nothing with it.
I'm like, yo, why is this guy just idling? He's just
Yeah.
like, he was standing there.
It
I'm like,
looked-
bro, do something.
It
Like,
looked lazy. It was not.
yeah, it looked super lazy. I was like, you could do so much better there. But
Yeah.
I mean, what do I know? I can barely skate. So, I don't know. It was good though. It was a pretty fun game. And like, man, if this was in Toronto, they would have won, bro. Like the energy is just way better.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, man.
we're
Go on. Sorry.
well. I think we should probably wrap up the stream here pretty soon.
Yeah.
If
Where
anybody
you at,
has-
man?
Yeah. What do you have going
Yeah,
on?
but-
What's going on? What's going on in your life? What do you got coming up?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plug your stuff,
Yeah.
buddy.
Oh, I'm taking some time off from. I just finished my stand up tour, and I did a movie as well. So I'm just taking a few months off to work on just back to the basics. Working on my content, and I'm actually gonna be doing a lot more like betting and like sports content. So a lot of stuff revolving around the Leafs and stuff too. So and hockey in general. So look out for that stuff. And that's it, man. I'm just trying to be the greatest comedian there is coming out of Canada, aside from Russell, obviously, and just trying to put on and represent for the cultures, man, that we're always around. So,
Well,
that's
don't
it,
forget
man.
to show the Leafs some love when you do. And
Yeah, I will, for
and,
sure,
And
for
thanks
sure.
for coming on tonight and everything. And it's been great having you. And if you are watching the stream right now, please, as soon as the stream is over, head over and catch the Oilers game over. With Dennis and Zach tonight, where they are playing the Blues. It has been a great night. It has not been a great game, but on to the next, as always. So thank you, everybody, for watching the stream. If anybody has anything else to say, my name is Lauren. You can find me on Twitter at Lauren6. Fouad,
My name is Fouad. My name is Fouad Suleiman. You can find me at Fouad_sports on either the Instagram or the TikTok.
And my name is Neema Naz on every platform, including OnlyFeet. All right. So thank you so much for having me.
We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Game over! Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada's